Hello everyone, hope you've seen my previous video for revising the chapter of real numbers, first part. Now in this video, I'll be telling you about the irrational numbers. Now what are rational numbers? If you remember, the numbers that can be expressed in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q not equal to 0 are called rational numbers. So what are irrational numbers? The numbers that cannot be expressed in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0 are called the irrational numbers. Just make a note of very important thing. Let P be a prime number. If P divides A square, then P divides A also, where A is a positive integer. So this is the important result that we'll be using in while doing the questions. So first, a very important question that can come for 3 marks is, you have been getting in the previous year's board papers to prove the numbers like root 2, root 3, root 5 as irrational numbers, or the numbers like 2 plus root 3 to be as irrational, or 2 plus 3 root 2 to be as irrational, or let's say 5 root 2 to be as irrational. One of these kinds has been coming regularly in your board exams. So this is again a quite favorite question of the paper setters, that prove root 2 is irrational. Now, how do we prove that? Please understand, each and every statement written here is important. If you miss out on anything, that means you will lose the marks. So I will do it by contradiction. Let us suppose that root 2 be rational. Then we have, as per the definition of the rational numbers, root 2 can be written as a upon b, where a and b are co-prime integers and b is not equal to 0. So if I take this b to the left hand side, I get a is equal to root 2b. I square both the sides and I get a square is equal to 2b square. Now, if I say that a square is equal to 2b square, means that a square is a multiple of 2, or I can say that 2 is a factor of a square. If 2 divides a square, it will divide a also. So that means that 2 is a factor of a. So I can say that a can be written as 2c, where c is some positive integer. So I write a is equal to 2c. I square it once again. I get what? I get a square is equal to 4c square. But a square was what? A square was 2b square. Substituting this value in a square is equal to 4c square, if instead of a square I had 2b square, I get 2b square is equal to 4c square. 2 and 4 cancels to give me b square is equal to 2c square. Now I have got b square is equal to 2c square, means that 2 is a factor of b square, or I say 2 divides b square. If 2 divides b square, then 2 will divide b also. If 2 divides b and here I got 2 divides a, that means that 2 is a common factor of a and b. But it was written that a and b are co-prime integers. If a and b are co-prime, and here I am getting that a and b are having 2 as a common factor, means that this is not possible. This is contradicting the fact that a and b have no common factors other than 1, because I had taken them to be as co-prime integers. Therefore, this contradiction has arisen because of the incorrect assumption that root 2 is rational. Hence, I can say that root 2 is irrational. So again, each and every statement that I have written here, whatever I have said, that all is very important. Similar question, we can prove root 3, root 5 to be as irrational. Let us take up a similar question. I'm taking up example 10. Show that 5 minus root 3 is irrational. So again, we'll be doing it by the contradiction method. I'll suppose, first of all, let if possible, 5 minus root 3 be rational. If 5 minus root 3 is rational, then as per the definition of rational numbers, I can write 5 minus root 3 is equal to a upon b, where b is not equal to 0 and a and b are co-prime. Now, I'll be taking root 3 on one side and take everything to the other side. I can rewrite this as root 3 is equal to 5 minus a upon b. So let us simplify this. I get root 3 is equal to 5b minus a upon b. Carefully look at this first equation. The right hand side is rational. Reason being a, b and 5 are integers. So I get 5b minus a upon b is rational number, because b is also not equal to 0. So I get the right hand side of the first equation is rational. But I know that root 3 is irrational, LHS of 1 is irrational, and RHS of 1 is rational. As 5, A and B are integers and B is not equal to 0. So this side becomes a rational number, this side is irrational. I cannot have an irrational number equal to a rational number. Hence, this contradiction is risen because of a wrong assumption. And what was the wrong assumption? That 5 minus root 3 is rational. So our assumption is wrong and hence 5 minus root 3 is irrational. So this way you'll be doing the question. Let us take one more question of same type quickly. Show that 3 root 2 is irrational. Exactly on the same lines we'll be doing it as the previous question. So let if possible 3 root 2 be rational. Then we have 3 root 2 is equal to A upon B, where B is not equal to 0 and A and B are co-prime. So I take this 3 to the denominator and I get root 2 is equal to A upon 3B. I take this as the first equation. Now clearly look at the right hand side of this. A, 3 and B are integers and B is not equal to 0. So I get that A upon 3B is a rational number. But I know that root 2 is irrational. Now can an irrational number be equal to the rational number? No, I cannot get LHS of 1 be equal to the RHS because the rational cannot be equal to an irrational number. So hence there is a contradiction, and this contradiction is because of a wrong assumption. And what was the wrong assumption? The assumption was that 3 root 2 is rational. So this assumption is incorrect and hence I can say that 3 root 2 is irrational. Now because again a 1 marker or a 2 marker is also expected from this chapter. So we can get a 1 marker wherein this theorem 1.5 is used, that let x be a rational number whose decimal expansion terminates, then x can be expressed in the form of p upon q, where p and q are co-prime and the prime factorization of q is of the form of 2 raised to the power of n into 5 raised to the power of m, where n and m are non-negative integers. Non-negative integers means it can be 0 also. So if in case I have a number that can be expressed in the form of p upon q, such that p and q are co-prime, very important. They have to be co-prime. The first step is, while checking the numbers, I'll have to ensure that the numbers are in the co-prime form. There should be nothing in common between them. I need to cancel out the common factors, and then whatever I get after that, I'll check the denominator of that. In case the denominator can be expressed in the form of 2 raised to the power of n into 5 raised to the power of n, means that it has no other factor other than 2 or 5 or both, then in that case, I can say that the number will have a terminating decimal expansion. So a number terminates if it can be expressed in the form of p upon q, and q can be written as 2 raised to the power of n into 5 raised to the power of m. So theorem 1.6 states that in case I can factorize this denominator q in this form, 2 raised to the power of n into 5 raised to the power of m, then the decimal expansion will terminate. So likewise, if x is equal to p upon q be a rational number, such that the prime factorization of q is not of the form. In case it is not of that form, then it will be, the decimal expansion will be non-terminating and repeating. So let us take a few examples of the application of the above result. So the question is, without actually performing the long division, state whether the following rational numbers will have a terminating decimal expansion or a non-terminating decimal expansion. The first part, 13 upon 3125. So 13 I know is a prime number. Let us take up 3125. 3125's prime factorization is 5 raised to the power of 5. So I have got this 13 upon 3125 as p upon q, and the prime factorization of q is what? 2 raised to the power of m into 5 raised to the power of n, where m is 0 and n is equal to 5. Thus, the above rational number will terminate. Now I'll write the decimal expansion without the proper complete division. So this was, the denominator was 5 raised to the power of 5. So if I multiply the numerator and denominator both by 2 raised to the power of 5, what will I get? I will get, by multiplying this denominator by 2 raised to the power of 5, this denominator will become 10 raised to the power of 5. So my motive is to make this as a power of 10. So what will I get? Since this is 10 raised to power of 5, the numerator comes out to be 13 into 32, which is equal to 416. So 416 upon 1,000,000 is equal to 0.00416. So even without the division, by simple multiplication, simple calculation, I have got the answer. So this is the beauty of this result. As I told you, before checking the prime factorization of the denominator, we need to check whether the given rational number is in its simplest form or not. Let us take up an example. If I take 6 upon 15, now 6 upon 15, if I do the prime factorization of the denominator, it is in the form of P upon Q. Now if I take the prime factorization of Q, it is 3 into 5. 3 into 5 is not of the form of 2 raised to the power of n into 5 raised to the power of n. So if you just go by that, you will get that the decimal expansion of 6 upon 15 is a non-terminating repeating decimal. But if I do it up, taking that P and Q need to be co-prime. So I'll just factorize first of all the denominator, cut out the common term 3 and 3, and I'll be left with 2 upon 5. Now 2 upon 5 denominators of the form of 2 raised to the power of m into 5 raised to the power of n, because it can be written as 2 raised to the power of 0 into 5 raised to the power of 1. So it will have a terminating decimal expansion. However, if we consider 77 upon 210, then in its simplest form, it can be written as 11 upon 30, which is equal to 11 upon 3 into 2 into 5. So again, the decimal expansion of this will be a non-terminating repeating decimal number, because the denominator is having, apart from 2 and 5, it is having one more factor, that is 3. So it will not be of the form of 2 raised to the power of m into 5 raised to the power of n. Hence, its decimal expansion will not terminate. So again, this exercise, I have done other important questions. Let us take up the third question. I need to decide whether they are rational or not. If they are rational and of the form of P upon Q, what can you say about the prime factors of Q? So this is what? This is a terminating decimal number. So whenever it is a terminating decimal number, I know that it can be expressed in the form of P upon Q, where P and Q are co-prime, and Q can be written in the form of 2 raised to the power of m into 5 raised to the power of n, where m and n are non-negative integers. Let us take up this one. This is an irrational number. So again, if you take this third part, this is what? This is a repeating decimal number. This is not an irrational number, but a rational number, because it is non-terminating and repeating decimal number. So I can say that it can be expressed in the form of P upon Q, but Q here will not be of the form of 2 raised to the power of m into 5 raised to the power of n, where m and n are non-negative integers. So I hope this chapter is clear to you. Thank you so much.